Hello, I'm here. It's live. I had to do a little housekeeping. I had a couple of people who sent me questions at the very last minute, and one of them I didn't get a hold of the person I need to get a hold of, so I have since emailed her and asked her for her Etsy site. I don't know if people are going to show up or not. I'm waiting, but I said 1 o'clock, and it's 1 o'clock. And I'm going to do my thing and talk about it because tech support is not here to put my show up for me. So I need to make sure that I can get this up today. And this is my one way of doing it. Oh, Kim C, hiya. You woke up crying. I'm sorry. Hello, Melinda. I'm going to wait and let the things build up a little bit. I will tell you a little bit about where I am with things. I didn't wake up crying, but I did wake up after having a vivid dream. And I was told by my angels I was walking in this strange place, and I was like, well, where am I? And they said, you're in the garden. And I'm like, okay, I'll go along with that. So I was in the garden, and I was looking at, what the layout was around me, and I said, what part of the garden is this? And they said, you're in restate. And I would have expected restate, which is here, that when crystals hit there, depending on the crystal and the question, I will re-roll the whole question, or it just means that however put the question, it is not exactly right to what the situation is. And if I'm talking too fast, it's because I'm a little wired about this. Anyway, but it wasn't barren at all. What it was it was a whole weed patch. I mean, it was like if you're in an old garden that's really, really, really overgrown. When I was a little girl, there was a house that was the whole house. It looked like something out of an Alfred Hitchcock movie, and it had been owned by a guy who'd been Patty McFarlane. He'd been a American prizefighter, prize boxing star, and he'd bought this house. He was native from my hometown in Illinois, and this was the estate he had built. And on this estate, there was a house that was built for his kids, and it had in the walls of the house, someone had painted all these 1920s cartoon characters. They were called the Katzenjammer Kids, which I'm sure most of you have never seen. But anyway, they were in there, and we used to climb around on this property because the only person left was, I think, Patty's wife, because he was big in the 20s, so this was in the 50s. Okay, it's probably his wife. And she lived in the house, and she never called the cops on us or anything. Yeah, everybody's having an interrupted night. We're going to talk about some of that crazy energy today. But they told me that that what I needed to do is they were going to give me a space a night in my dreams to walk people through and talk about what's there. And in the case of restate, it's just a matter of weeding out the right answer, weeding out the right questions so you can get the right answer. So that was what I learned about that space. I'm writing all this down. I'm going to put out more notes on how to work with the garden. So I decided this morning before I got going with y'all, I'd write down some more notes. Other than that, I'm going to get to your questions a little later because someone wrote me yesterday and she didn't get right on time and didn't hear the answer, and then she wanted me to answer her again. So I decided I'd pull together a couple things I kind of like to do some days. And one of my favorite books to work with is this one, Crystal Reading Cards. And it's the Healing Oracle. And she just, the illustrations in here, the cards are absolutely gorgeous. That's the Opal she included in here. And so today I said, okay, universe, what do I need to talk about to kind of lighten up the energy? Because I do agree there's a lot of heavy energy coming towards us. This full moon's going to be a real ride with all the crazy shootings around ballparks and all the other viciousness of people breaking out. I said, how do we get past that? How do we get out of that? And the basis of the Opal is It's for all chakras. It contains all colors. It can contain all colors. I don't know if you've ever watched any of the shows. Let me put it down here, you can see it. You watched any of the shows on YouTube where they polish opals or mine for opals. Opals are a very weird stone. It's a sedimentary stone, so it means it comes in fluid and it drips in and it fills spaces with all those beautiful colors. But the meaning of the opal is you've been called upon today to remind yourself of the joyfulness of the universe that exists for us at all times. It is now a time for you to truly experience the joy of life and of your soul. The devas of the opal, and in this book, devas are the goddesses that reside within a stone, encourage you to lighten up and stop being so serious. It's time to laugh and have some fun. Joy is the most powerful form of self-healing we can have. And I just thought that was so perfect for today because I kind of woke up feeling funky too. Before last night, I slept 4 hours. Last night, I slept 7.5 just because I made myself go back to sleep. The other thing the opals there is tremendous. Remind us we need to experience love, including self-love. The opal was used by the Aborigines. They found them in the stones in Australia. It was used in Aboriginal dream ceremonies. It activates your thymus, which is the sacred seat of love and joy in our bodies, and it's just vibrant energy. I don't know if you've ever owned an opal, but they're so much fun to hold and they're so much fun to look at and to see all the light that's in it. It truly says to us, with those lights shining out of the opal, that joy is our birthright. And so I thought, well, that's fine, and I got to remember joy because it's hard to do. It's easier to focus on the grim stuff sometimes than the good stuff. But then I remembered a mantra I used to have, and it says, I feel peaceful because I know my worth, and I will walk the path of life with firm steps. So as long as you know what you're worth. My problem is when we start making judgments on other people, like, how the hell could they do that? That is so stupid. It is so stupid. So that got me to the thing of judgment. And I have a thing from Mother Teresa. If you judge others, you don't take time to love them. If we are quick to pass judgment on others, we forget that they, like us, are human beings. We seldom know the roads other people have traveled before we have the shared encounter with them or why they've come into our lives. We should always give them the gift of grace. That's not what it says on here, but that's how I view it. If we would give other people the gift of grace, we would expect ourselves. If you remember what we talk about all the time, that your thoughts are what you bring to you. If you treat other people with grace, being in a lower vibration where they are and lashing out with violence, that's to stir us up. And if we don't want to go down that rabbit hole, it's not the right place to go. The first steps of compassion are to treat others with grace and to not be judgmental. And that's kind of the thoughts I had as I was sitting here thinking about, I talked about it a little bit yesterday. When I get a negative thought last night, when I saw that news story flashed across my phone, I didn't do what I would have done before. I didn't dive into it, see all the grim details and all the horrible things. I looked at it a little bit this morning. But what we need to do at this point is to take those thoughts and dismiss them, because then after I knew that was going on somewhere in America, I was able to get into bed and sleep for 7.5 hours. So it takes some practice, and it's part of meditative techniques to learn how to dismiss negative thoughts and just say thank you for sharing, and I'll talk to you later. Okay, we've got 18 viewers. I'm going to go into the questions I got asked. I got asked one question, and it was about a statement I made about where to find a pendulum that Trudy Lee at, you can look her up, she's on YouTube. Trudy Lee Tarot, I think, is her email. She has an Etsy shop, and she sells some really pretty wands. She sells some really lovely, she sells all kinds of stuff, but she sells some lovely pendulums. And a year ago when I did a show on pendulums, I had the address to her Etsy shop, but I couldn't find it. So if you contact her directly, I just saw another question come up. If you contact her directly, she'll be glad to help you and direct you to her Etsy store. And I love throwing the business to her. And the person who asked about that asked about something else. And I'm not going to throw stones on this because this woman's suffering back problems. And I don't know if you've ever seen this book, but I found out about it from watching Cash Peters. And I got it, and it's by Michael J. Lincoln, Top 50 Messages from Your Body. And he breaks them down into body parts and what's going on in the body parts. And this person said they're having back problems, so I'm going to go to page 30. And these are sort of the categories he broke things down into. I'm going to go through real quickly and give you a catch up on it. It says back problems, utter isolation. It's UTTER. There's a deep loneliness, a sense of separation from others that we love, or from our own home office, from our own sense of center. Sometimes people with this feel like God is like Al Capone, essentially out to get them and not to be trusted. This sense of isolation I think, can be fixed by doing meditations and trying to connect back to the universal self. The next definition for back problems is failure freak out. There's a real feel that what you've been working on you're going to lose at, and on both pragmatic and ultimate planes. As a result, we intensely are self-demanding, and we don't trust our root chakra, which is what's at the base of our back. And I said, there's another one called, and this is what the vibration's called, I don't see me being it. We tend to dump our unacceptable qualities, feelings, functionings, deeds behind them so that we don't have to see them. But instead, we end up dragging them around through our security chakra because we've never really let them go. We're keeping them like a bundle, like a bad piece of baggage. Let that go. Skid Row Sid, often someone who's obsessing on financial and worth concerns, reflecting on the fact they don't deserve any better. And so they build up that lump of, I'll never have security because I don't deserve it. And they build that up in their root chakra. And will issues, WILL issues. They experience many conflicts of will with others and within themselves. They are either dominating others or overdependent on others, both of which leads to a poor self-image and a lack of security. I don't know which of those you think might fit you, the lady who has the back problems. She also wanted Trudy's pendulums. Go look there, but because of the way you expressed that and what you asked, I think you definitely need to go find some meditations about the root chakra, or just read about the root chakra and understand what it means to you in your life. Judy asked me again about having too many paths ahead of her. She needs to send me somehow to narrow that down because I got 5 crystals and I can't. When I'm doing a reading like this, it has to be kind of somewhat general, because if you've got 12 paths ahead of you, I'm not going to be able to go through all those while I'm reading in the garden right now. I can do that. I can do it with cards. I can do it with the garden. But we need to do that. Good afternoon, Laura. Let's see. Oh, what was the site? The app I have on my cell phone for crystals. Wrong cell phone. It is. It's here. I'm getting it. Thank you, Laura. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's see. The app I have that I had showed you on my phone, it's called Crystals Light. I have an Android phone. I understand not all apps are open to the same thing. The way I found it was I just went into whatever your app Play Store is, where you find things. I just tiled in crystal descriptions, and there's a ton of them out there. I happen to like this one. I got it before there were a ton of them out there, so I don't have to pick for a whole lot. That's Helene's question. Thank you, Laura, for the advertisement. Whoop whoop. I just finished a grid, and I think Andrea showed it on her show yesterday when she did All About Anything. It was a good show. She did really good writing. Um, oh, okay, Flying on a Broom. We need to send uh, thoughts and white light to her friend's sister who was in a catastrophic car accident Friday. So, what I'm going to tell you about my grids, what I did with my grids, and next week I'm going to, okay, God, my mind's running 90 to nothing. I just posted it in the description of this show. If you email me and you want to buy a garden, I will send you, and go away my PC cleaner. I hope you're not didn't get to see my PC cleaner showing up. Go away. Cancel. Cancel. Yes. I don't want you to, I don't want my computer scanned right now. I don't know why it did that. That's not what it's scheduled to be. Maybe it's saying, slow down, lady. Even we can't follow you. I posted below in my description today how to get a hold of me, and I will send you a $10 off coupon if you want to buy the garden. I also am revamping my... Okay. Oh, Laura, I'll get to your question. So if you want to get a garden, I have that up, and it's going to be up to the end of July, because I have been told by the same people who told me to build this. People need to see this now, because this did not exist last February. It didn't really exist except in my mind till the middle of February. And y'all need to know that new, incredible, interesting, great things from the other dimensions are coming in. But the other side's not going to let go easily. And we can't, when we think about them or focus on them, it only strengthens their disruption of us. So speaking of people disrupting people, oh yeah, I have some neuropathy, but I had some in the bottom of my feet, Laura, and I looked at Eric Berg, and it's ERIC and then space BERG. He does some things about nutrition and neuropathy, and they've been very successful for me. I don't know. I mean, he explains why it's supposed to work. You can try that now. Okay, your mom's moving in with you, and okay, we're going to see the situation about your mom moving in with you, Laura. Okay, I'll stand in the center right now. Fire, fire. Oh, you got the magic crux. You got the right in the middle. Right in the middle. You get your mind ended up right in the middle. So we're going to take that as the centermost point. Thoughts are all important. Do not become tied to the false energy your sister has convinced you to believe in. Final thoughts on this situation are coming. And let go of limitations. Don't think I can't stop my sister. Don't think about even stopping your sisters. Think about making wholeness and wellness around your mother. Because what I see, this is clarity's coming out of your past. In part, it's because your mom's sort of tied to her in some ways. You just need to deal with it. Just tell your sister to take her chaos and move it on. Get it out of here. It shows spirit that you have spirit in the West, which is transmutation is really coming towards you, and your body's just moving forward. This means your mom's grounding her thoughts, and some of the crap, your main mind games your sister plays with her, are going to stop. So the way I would read this is, you are right in the middle of forming what's going to come from this. It's all in your ability and your thoughts. That's the last time I want to hear you refer to your sister's chaotic energy. Bless your sister and do like thoughts you don't need around you. Say thank you for sharing and let her go. Yes, Gina, I've done 2 grids for Andrea. I did a grid for Andrea before I had a channel, and I did it in trade for a reading. And when she read me, she said, you ought to have a channel. And that's the first grid you saw, the one that's all purple. The one I gave her this time was because of a conversation that grew out from a conversation I had with Robert, the Akashic Records guy. But anyway, for her, That's kindness, because she is the most kind person in our community. Not to make that there's like a sliding scale of kindness, but she is always inevitably in a great space and fun to talk to. Break it out, Laura, and I'm going to be on every day for the next 20 days. I'm going to walk in each space in this garden at least once a day. I'm going to do those lives. Tomorrow, I'm doing a collaboration with Dorothy Morgan because of this full moon, and because this week has so many planets moving so many places. This is a week when you don't want to talk to a wannabe astrologer like me. You need to talk to a real astrologer like her. So if you will post questions that you have about the astrology that's going on right now on my community page, I'll use those when I talk to Dorothy. Oh, and normally with Dorothy, I just say what's going on, and she just goes. Yeah, getting mad at the lower vibrations doesn't help. Okay, life is good. I can tell you one of the reasons that maybe happened to you is a lot of companies thought they're opening up faster than they're going to be able to open up. But let's see about the situation. Everybody concentrate. And the situation for life is good for getting a new job. Everything wants to stay in the middle today. Okay. Makes it easier for me to read, but it's not nearly as much fun to look at. Okay. I think the job you're going for, if the job you're looking for is one that grew out of what you've done before, which is sort of normally how we find. Sometimes we switch careers completely, but you're learning. It's a lot going to be based on what you've learned already. This is what's coming towards you. This is what's going away, and this is your thoughts. And you need to be really, really clear. I think you need to understand it's not you. Life is good. It's not you. Your body is ready to go and to be grounded and to move forward. All the energy is set up for that for you to happen. So the big action for you is in Earth, which is, if you consider Earth the east and the sun is rising, this is the energy that's moving towards you. And its final thoughts on this are coming very soon. And it's what I think. It's because it's out of the past and on the earth. Your spirit, it's not you, it's the environment you're in. Do not take it that way. In essence, dear, you're losing your next opportunity. Your next opportunity has been held up from you by COVID. But you know what I always looked upon? And I have shifted jobs. God, I've been everything from taught media in a high school to being a chef's apprentice in a very fancy kitchen, in the pastry kitchen, to running elections, to running a volunteer organization, taking it from 60 people to 3,000 in a year and a half. I mean, I've done everything, but I always looked upon each time I had a chance to change jobs, it was an opportunity, even if it wasn't when I wanted it to happen. Okay. It's wonderful. Andrea is wonderful. I'll have to tell her to go look at my feed today because it all says she's wonderful. Okay, I'm going to read Tina's daughter had a cyst, which is not cancerous. So we're going to do the situation around her cyst, and I'm going to ask the garden to give me a 911 on what's great about it and what she needs to watch out for. See, they spread out differently. I'm going to leave restate where it is. I think she may need to go find a couple more specialists before she gets rid of it completely. But has she had a similar kind of problem in the past? Because she needs to break from her previous patterns of illnesses. She needs to be more, what I'm getting from these two stones is she needs to be more proactive in her own care and challenging to him. She needs, and boy, this has screwed her up royally from, not screwed her up, it's really shaken her security. She needs to connect to, She needs to connect the spiritual fear that she has, that she's holding her in her root chakra, and connect it to her body, and in that way begin to set up a cycle within her own system of healing. The clarity she's getting, it's coming from you. It's coming from how you view things. She's gonna have a couple different options of treatments to go through just to get rid of it and make sure it doesn't come back. Let me see. I'm gonna throw one on. I'm gonna do one on done in the doctor she's using right now. She needs to get a second opinion, not that it's cancerous, but on how to treat it, because whoever she's working with doesn't have the latest and greatest techniques. I mean, just it's something to consider. Trust me, when anybody starts carving around on my body, I always get a second opinion, and I was raised by a doctor, and he taught me to do that. Oh, good. Laura Newby finds crystals. I don't know where she lives. She lives there someplace, but she sends me some gorgeous quartz, and she sends me lovely, lovely pieces of quartz. Yeah, you can ask a question, Melinda. Just ask it. Just, you know. That'll be a great Tuesday. Will be a good day. Tuesday will be a great day to go work in your garden, the one that's on the table. Yeah, everything is unhappening and folding for a reason, and we need to not get swept up in the chaos. And that's the only word I can think of for kind of how I feel things are happening. I have so many people who tell me they're not sleeping and stuff. Let's see. Oh, she did have lymphoma. Yeah, I definitely always go get a second opinion. I mean, that the world of cancer cures like that are moving so quickly, and I know that because I have a friend whose sister is also a dear friend to me. She's had it, and you know, she has to go get checked all the time. Okay, I'm going to write and see if Kim C. We're going to say, what's the situation to help Kim C. let go of the grief? What's the situation around that? Oh, get out and start creating things for yourself, girl. Let the spiritual wounds that came from this go away. Where your mind's playing games with you. Your mind is reading things, the information falsely. Your mind is misleading you. That's exactly what this stone, your mind is misleading you. So you need to get out of your mind, get in and take the energy you're spending grieving about things, put it into creativity, express your values in your sacral chakra, which is manifestation, can be supercharged at this time. And creative is what you need to harmonize all your intentions. You need to be creative. These things keep creeping in and stopping your sacral chakra from working. This is probably highly repetitive for you, but the root chakra is the one at the very base, and that's where we get our security, our energy. It's kind of like a red simmering little volcano down there. Then as the colors move up, the sacral chakra is where we get our creativity from, where we take the energy and what's coming out of the root chakra and put it together with our power. So we have to form it in the sacral chakra into intentions and ideas. Then we move it into the solar plexus, which is the chakra that's right underneath your rib cage. And the best illustration I can think of it is it's like a little solar system. Solar plexus. And all the energy swirling around, and it spins it up to your heart. Your heart takes it in a loving, harmonious way, moves it up, clarifies it, becomes your truth. Then it joins with your insights and your third eye, and it goes up the crown, and all that wonderful energy is now flowing through you. You have parts of you very, very working really hard to get you to lighten up and go for your intentions. And what's these two stones mean when you have the body and earth, it means physical changes are coming. I think one of the things that you might need to do is is let go of those losses by more engaging your body. I think what this griefing's done is it's made you sit in one place and has not had you move forward. And actually, the transmutation for you is complete as soon as you let this energy go. So this says your mind's your own problem. And if you're a mental person like I am, and I think in terms of words and that sort of stuff, when I let my mind slip away into negative, there's not hardly any getting it back. So that's what you need. And the way to get out of it is to do something creative and wonderful and fun, what we started with the Opal. Remember, joy is your birthright. It's what you're supposed to have in this life. Let's see, I'm feeling... Oh, okay, Melinda. Let's see if Melinda should join us here in the wonderful world of YouTube. I take it, since what she says is she's starting a channel, a light working channel. Can't have too many light workers. Can't have too many. See, the situation around Melinda's, and I'm going to ask the board if it can put the crystals into a time. There's a way I can tell time on the garden. Okay. You've done a lot of work this spring, but it's really this summer. This is summer you're going to feel it, but you're really going to come into having it come in its own fruition in the fall. And because that's when your mind is going to let go of all the limitations you keep convincing yourself you have. You had a start towards this, and you kind of did a false start. You thought you were going there. It's because your spirit wasn't completely committed and into it, and that was in the spring. By the end of spring and into summer, you've got values and clarity in the solar plexus, which is a great place to have your values and your clarity. And your clarity says there's more than one way to move forward, which is why when you had a kind of a false start here, you need to rethink about that. But your grounding is burn off all self-doubt that blocks you from going for your power, and don't worry about things that have happened in the past. You're going to get past whatever those kind of restrictions you managed to feed yourself. This is go for it. And it's the planning you're doing right now is going to pay off. It'll be completely there in the fall when you get rid of all of your false expectations. Like, it's not that hard. It's easier for me because I have tech support, but that's really not that hard. Oh, good. She's looking for a functional doctor. Thank you, Tina. That makes me feel much better. Thank you. Does the spirit have a message for Kathy? Kathy with a K. I'm going to ask for the next area for you that spirit would like to see you go into, okay? Okay, you need to, if you've been thinking about doing some body work, and you've got your spirit you get in a groove, Kathy, and your spirit says it can always when you listen to your spirit, you have to understand it has two voices, one that's false and one that is the path forward. The path forward will always be obvious to you. You have your mind in the present and in the third eye, which is absolutely wonderful, because when you've got that like that in the third eye, it's the third eye has all the intuition and sights you need, and it's functioning like really, really fast right now. You've got new values moving towards you, and your clarity lives between your emotions and your thoughts. So when I look at this, what I see is you've had some false starts in the past. Your spirit, if you really, really listen to your spirit, I'm going to pull that and read that alone. You do brilliantly. You are in a perfect space. I don't know what you're doing right now, but whatever regimen you're thinking you should be moving on, that's you following your spirit. So Kathy, follow it. And your one and done is, okay. You got a crux. You got to go for it. Deal with your root chakras. You've got this, when stones fall here, the primary thing is it says go for it. Go with where your spirit tells you to go. It's leading you in the right direction. You just need to follow it, and I don't think you're not following it. There's a man here who wants to know, can the garden give guidance on what to do about sleeping through the turmoil, the dimension changes we're going through? Let's see. The situation around the dimension changes. And like I said, that's why I'm having Dorothy with me tomorrow. We're going to probably be on, it's probably go up about 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Dorothy is an absolutely brilliant astrologer, and I'm going to ask her all these questions about the dimension changes, but let's see what we can find from Bill. Okay, your values are your path forward. Your spirit's in the right place in the present thing. Your mind's in a good place. You've got clarity. The only problem is your body's holding you back a little bit. It's in fire, fire being the south in the past. You need to take better care of your body because all the other energies are in the right place. Your clarity, your mind, and your spirit are all in the right space to do this. So the turmoil for you is to get control of your body and make sure that it feels better and you have your values in. There is much more abundance to be created around you, so you need to go for it, guy. And that's an answer to Mr. Bill. You need, Kim, you know what I did yesterday? And I kept my blood oxygen levels in the upper 90s all day. I knit. I'm knitting baby blankets for a woman who I went to high school with. She has a foster daughter who's going to have twins, and so I'm knitting 2 baby blankets. And the reason this lady's so important to me is she's a woman who was with me in Europe when we saw the ghost. And because of that incident, she ended up in a spiritual realm, but she does woo-woo in business. I do woo-woo in you. But she wrote me and said, I've seen the baby blankets you've knit before. Would you knit me one? I just started on it yesterday, and I'm about a third finished. But it was so nice to just sit back and watch Andrea and watch some of the other readers I really enjoy seeing. Danny had a really good show on his Spirit Sunday this morning. I didn't pull my card. I pulled my cards before I saw it, or I would have stolen some of his ideas, but I already knew where I was going. Yeah, grief is not a straight line. Grief is a very curvy and sometimes circle back on itself, but give yourself the grace to move on and to listen. Let's see. A therapist, social worker. Yeah, you can offer all the ideas you want, Laura. I think you're right on the money. Hello, world. Hello, I have PSTD from anxiety and currently on disability. Okay, let's see if we see a season you're maybe going to be enlightened and a chance to go back to work, or at least go back out and really contribute in a way. Even, I know a paying check would be nice, but just to be out maybe with other people. Yeah, this fall some things are going to open up from you. Did you go on final disability in the spring? Because that's where it shows. Your value systems are coming up. Let's see if I can read out of these stones where you're going to go. Physical changes are coming, which are going to make it easier for you. I don't know what your disability is, but I know PTSD. Is that how you say it? I know people who have it, and it's very difficult because can be so subtle. Your values fall between. You're in the process of moving your thoughts and where you want to go from your root chakra to energies understanding what will make you to more secure into manifestations that will become supercharged. So once you and move it over to here, you're going to be supercharged to know exactly where you can go and what you can do. Your mind is an interesting place. Fire and water. Don't become too tied to the false energies of the past and let go of limitations. So this stone says basically the same thing. Once your mind gets to the point it says, I'm willing to go and risk and try, and I understand can be part of the problem with PTSD. Your clarity is clearly in water, and it says, you have the clarity you need. Follow. There's going to be more than one way you can work your way out of this, and it's going to bring your spirit into a way that your spirit can flow for you. Transmutation is going to be complete, but you're kind of between a rock and a hard place. It's right now, it's transforming your thinking, but it's going to come, and I see this is so clearly the fall. All this is the fall. I think this fall is going to be a wonderful time for you, and I think you will be able to work, but I think your way back to work is to go out and not have the pressure of a paycheck, but have the pressure of duties and working with people and being out that way. Okay, let's see if the Spirit has a message for Carolyn. Okay, what are the areas of this garden that Carolyn needs to work on in the next, oh dear. Security, security, security. Your Spirit says you need to get your mind and your spirit in touch with your root chakra and what's secure for you. Your clarity is totally screwed up by things out of your past. How you see things moving, you're too ruled by your past. But you've got your body taking you into a new space and helping you with grounding elements to help you move forward, and to have your grounding being true is you will be seeing things very clearly, but this is clearly the fall. But so what your spirits are saying, if you had to remove one rock off this board, get this one out of here. That's your clarity tide. You go back, but yes, Mama said, or but Daddy said, or my church always told me, or my best friend says, blah. Okay. Any news on hard eggs? Yes, I have a meeting tomorrow with Carlos, and he's going to show me some things, and I will let you know. And if I don't have anything by August, I'm refunding everybody's money and going back to square one until I can figure out what I'm going to do. He's been working on it. He's been working on it very diligently. He actually had an engineer that he interested in the project, so the guy came in and made molds. I'm supposed to know by the end of this weekend how that all went. For those of you who don't know about the eggs, don't ask me about the eggs. I mean, if you have an egg order out, I recognize your names because I look at you frequently. And there's somebody I know who's in the chat who has an egg, and he claims it totally works for him. If it weren't for him, like people like him that got the first 10 eggs we managed to make before my fabricator got sick, I would have just sent everybody back their money. But they tell me they're so valuable that they really do heal their heart, or make them aware of what they need to do to heal their heart. Okay. Wishing Melinda good luck with your project. And when you get up, just let me know. You can contact me and say I was in your chat room, and we can look at it. And maybe you can come over and talk to me about what made you be a light worker. I always find those stories fascinating. Diane, what message do I have from Spirit for you? Your brain's been in a bad space, lady. I mean, not bad, but not negative, not positive, not helpful. Like false. Like you're telling yourself stories you don't need to hear. This says, think of how you viewed this situation and you need to rethink it. But your body is in fire, and that means you're embodying a lot of your past. You're spinning your wheels. You're like not moving forward. Your spirit is... Okay, this says you need to rethink everything. This says you're tied to all beliefs, and this one says your spirit is tied to false thoughts. So the clarity would be you need to restate what you're working on, and that's what the spirits are telling you. But you've got great stones to do that, because you've got your value stone in the sacral chakra, and if you can get yourself out of... You can manifest, supercharge manifest if you want to. The problem is you can't get your mind past the fact, yes, but. If you hear but whenever you're doing any kind of meditation, throw that sucker out. And the other word I do not like much is trying. I'm trying to do it. It's just nothing's coming through. I'll show you about trying. This is my incredibly difficult inspirational message on trying. I'm trying to throw this rock down. I'm trying to throw this rock down. I'm trying to throw this rock down. I'm throwing the rock down. You have to throw the rock down. As long as you're trying, it's in your hand, it's going nowhere. So that's my Eat Your Spinach lecture on trying. it used to make me nuts when I'd read people's cards. But I'm trying to do that. And I said, but are you doing it? No, you're not doing it. You're trying to do it. Trying to do it isn't the same. Hi to all the garden flowers. Yeah, that'd be a nice name for my group. I don't have a real name for. One of my snottier sons said weed pickers. I said, no, we're not doing that one. Pam B, does she have? Okay, what's the situation for life changes for Pam B in the future? Ooh, you got a good spread. You're clearly becoming you are on the right path. If you've been doing some meditations for ascension, you're on the right path because your third eye is just blowing up. You're to the point you can see around the corner. I mean, you're just really in a brilliant place. Your body's beginning to change. It's beginning to move forward. Physical changes are coming to you within your body and also within the world around you. Don't get tied to false energies of the past and don't seek clarification from what you already know. Listen to your third eye, the thing that's waking up. And it's waking up big time, and it's gone from water to true. Spirit goes forward in harmony with whatever you carefully plan. And Spirit is telling you that your transmutation is almost complete. You need to drag these guys up here. And then you'll be fine. I mean, I think you're doing it. You would not have the pyrite in your third eye. Don't throw pyrite in your third eye. It's heavy and it doesn't work well. But in your intuitive side, you have so much insight. You must wake up every day saying, how the hell did I know that? And the fact, just don't question it anymore. Understand you know it. These stones are telling me you know it. You just have been convinced by others. You can't know that. I spent my youth listening to people tell me that. Okay. I guess, Helene, what I'd ask is, does your daughter want help? But I'm going to see what the situation is around your daughter. Maybe it'll tell me if she wants help. Her spirit's off the board. It just rolled off the board, so it's not even a player anymore. Her values are true. You need to quit. You just need to give her full, unrestricted love. That's all she needs. She feels like sometimes when you say you love her that you don't. That what you're saying isn't the truth. She's going through a trial by fire, coming to terms with what she embodies. This stone literally means embody your past. She's coming to terms with who she chose to come into this life as. And I think your heart's in the right place, but you two need to figure out how to get your spirits to blend together. And that's something you can meditate on, and you'll see visions on how to do that. I'm sure you will. She's not in a bad place. She's in a good place. Any messages from my angels? Hi, friend. Okay. Hi, friend. Let's see. Thank you for complimenting my garden, Mr. Bill. Okay, we're doing messages from angels. Your angels are telling you to speak your own truth. And that when you do that, then they can really help you. Your mind opens up for your expression of truth. They're bringing forward a lot of spiritual growth for you. You've got your body between earth and air, which is not a bad place to be. There's not really a bad place to be in the garden. It's just what do you do with what you got. Final thoughts in the situation are coming, and your thoughts are all important up here. And in fire, you've got... You're dealing with a lot of past stuff, and you need to express that. You need to understand it. You need to express it. Most importantly, what I get off this reading is you need to tell yourself, yeah, that really did happen. Yeah, it happened that way, and I'm good at what I do, and I wasn't getting credit for it. That's what you need to do. This reading tells me, and because you got throat chakra, that's express it. Say it. Say it to yourself. Talk to yourself in the mirror. One of the things I've been talking about recently is just sit down with a piece of paper sometime early in the morning before it gets too riotous. Not that my life's riotous right now, and I'll tell you why at the end. But before it gets too swirled up, sit down and say, okay, soul, what do I need to know today? And then just let the pen write. Whatever thought comes in your mind, just let it come out the end of the pen. That's sort of what Kim does when she scribbles on Intuitive View, but she's developed to see different patterns in it. With us, I can't do it. I can't scribble like she does either. Just write out what the angels tell you, the angels and your soul. Your soul would love to talk to you a lot more often than you'll listen. So that's one way to listen to it. Ugh. Yeah, Jackie, grief is a path that's different for each of us. I know how you feel about your daughter and your husband. My husband died in November of 2004, and my mother died suddenly in February of 2005. And that was a whole lot to have going on when you're widowed and left with a 13-year-old and having to figure out how to make everything work. Plus, I had just changed jobs. I literally switched jobs the day he was diagnosed with the stroke, which killed him 3 months later. Love and light to you, dear. You have all my sympathies. I know those stacked on griefs are not easy to handle. Hiya, True Love Community. If you haven't gone over, look at their site. They're doing a lot of fun shows. They're doing a lot of things. I'm involved with some of them. And they're really an interesting group of people. And Kathy G., what do your guys want you to know? Got everybody okay. They want you to know to let go of your values from the past and to get your mind out of the past. That they're opening up your throat and your third eye. You've got the spirit, the amethyst, sitting between those two. And the throat chakras, our expression, our communication, how we speak our own truth. And your third eye's opening up like crazy. Right now you're getting a lot of clarity. You're doing some things that are different than you've done before because they're in your solar plexus. These are new ideas, new things that are swirling around, and they're pushing all this up. The only thing that stops them from moving forward as fast as they can, and these guys are clearly tied together, is you need to get your mind out of your past. You need to look at something, and I've said this a lot of times on my show, and it's the truth. When I decided I really wanted to lose weight, I did a whole thing of why was I overweight. When I came to terms with what messages I was expressing to the outside world by being overweight, one of them which is, you don't get near me unless you get past the fat. But all of those defenses were put up because I was told by a whole lot of people that I wasn't good enough, that how could I, mostly it was from being psychic, how could you know that? And to protect that part of myself that I couldn't let die, or you wouldn't have me here now. I put up a wall of fat. Kids, I weighed 305 pounds at my heaviest. I don't have a picture of me at 305. When you weigh what I used to weigh, you don't have many pictures. And that's how much I'll tell you. The lady I'm knitting the baby blankets for, I took a picture with her because I so wanted to have a picture with her. That's what I used for my supreme fat picture. But I was heavier than that when I started. Anyway, once I finally realized that all the people that ever said those things to me were out of my life now, and I was in charge, and I realized that the thoughts I would tell myself were so much worse than if anybody else had walked up to me and said some of the things I was saying to myself. I'd have slapped them. So that's when I learned to say, thank you for sharing that part of myself, but you're not here anymore. That's a little girl who grew up in Illinois amidst the cornfields. And I was a skinny little kid, too. I didn't get fat till I was an adult, when I had to finally express who I was. Thank you, thank you. Okay, what's the situation around? Let's see if we can get a time on your grandchildren coming back. Not till winter. Winter's is close. Things are changing, though, around them. The spirits are moving things forward, but it's not until, this is when you lost them. It's out in the winter. You've got more stones in the winter than elsewhere. You're moving in the right direction. Your brain's in the right thing. It will come when some enlightenment comes to other. Yeah, don't throw pyrite in your third eye. It leads to ugly bruising. Oh, Bill, who's in my chat, he has one of the eggs. His story is one of the reasons why I keep working on the eggs. And what he says, there's a huge, he lost his egg. His house got flooded in the Great Freeze. He lost his egg for a while, and he had a lot of health problems when it was lost. Now that he's found it, he's able to deal with this PTSD better. And I know Mr. Bill, so. A message, an overall message from Spirit, from Flora. Is this for you? I'm going to take it's for everybody, because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but when you watch a reading, you're going to get bits and pieces out of every reading, because whoever hears that reading is supposed to be there and supposed to hear it. So let's see, reading from Spirit. Oh. Spirit put our mind in the tree of life. This is a beautiful reading. Spirit says, that while we're being challenged by a lot of our clarity coming from having to deal with the past, and some of the thoughts that we were raised with in the past are clouding our mind, we have our body in the solar plexus, which is great. It says the body's changing to bring forth power. Our minds are going to be enlightened. We've got the pyrite in the crown chakra, which is like the best place ever. Helps give confidence for us to use our ability to connect all of our energies. And when your mind is in the tree of life, it says the position of the mind in your situation is bringing change. What this says is when we don't have to lie to ourselves about what happened in the past. We don't make the past the reality of now. Our minds, our brains, our energy, and the power of our own solar plexus, that power center in our body, we're bringing forth the change we want to be. We are the change we want to be. That's the message from Spirit. Yeah, I've been through it a little bit, and I'll tell you right now what's happening, and I'll tell you because I want to go off at an hour. Last weekend I was really sick, and the only time I felt well is when I came in. I did the garden reading for you guys on Sunday, but I'd started to get sick on Thursday, wasn't sure what it was. Friday, I had a little bit of a headache. I never get headaches. And all of a sudden I got these stiff necks on both sides of my neck. My throat hurt a little bit, but I didn't have a fever, and it was just, I thought I'd slept on my pillows wrong because I changed pillows on my bed. And finally, by Monday, I woke up and things were stretching out. I'd gotten a giant vibrating heating pad, and I put it on the bed, and I would lay there and just let it kind of jiggle and bring the heat up and get things out of my body. I still had a little bit of a dull headache. Wednesday, my daughter came home sick from work. She's never sick. She began to get the same symptoms I did, except her neck wasn't as stiff, but she got the pounding headache. Finally, I was sitting Thursday morning listening to Stephanie Miller, who's on Free Speech TV, and she's on Sirius XM. She's a liberal talk show host. That's funny. She had on Dr. Redlener, who you've seen if you've been on NBC. He's the guy with the beard who does pediatric stuff. He said the new list of symptoms for people who've been exposed and potentially gotten Delta is different, and especially if you've been vaccinated. Now, my whole household's been vaccinated. He read the list of symptoms, and I just sat in my chair and went, holy crap. My daughter was staying home from work that day. I called her up. I said, call your doctor. She called her doctor, and her doctor said that she had 9 of the 10 symptoms of a COVID vaccinated person being exposed to the Delta variant and having it. So she went over to the drugstore here where they were doing the tests. They said her test was not conclusive. And then we went back through mine, and my stiff neck and stuff is even more conclusive. So my household's on a 2-week lockdown. That's why I can be on the show every day. I mean, it's no more to the rack, to the rack, to the rock shop. I can't go anywhere. I wouldn't do that. I would not dare even risk it now. My daughter's going and getting a more conclusive test on Tuesday, but I'm just warning you, I am, and that's why I've had to wake up not being angry, because 3 weeks before the world locked down, I locked down. My life has been locked down since February a year ago. And I could kick myself, because about 3 weeks ago I got brave and started going out and like going in the craft store and going and looking at some things. It was so nice to see things not on a electronic channel, pick things. I think I brought it home. I think one of those 3 places I went, and I think I know where it was. I got a drive-through meal, and the server person wasn't wearing gloves, and she had those giant ornately colored nails, which you should never have in food service if she got anywhere near it. Anyway, I'm not happy with those people who because if we were all vaccinated, it would stop the D from spreading and becoming more virulent. And on top of that, I live in Dallas. We got monkeypox. Now, you talk about bizarre diseases. We've got some person who's in isolation in our county system with monkeypox. Now, they were not out. They recognized it and got in the hospital immediately. But, people. Anyway, so you're going to see a whole lot of me. And like I said, I'm putting a coupon that I'm going to mail out to you if you want to get the garden at a discounted price. Send me an email at crystaldirections.nancyjean@gmail.com, and I will be more than happy to do it. Also, since I'm not going anywhere, I have lots of time to read, and I've had a lot of people reach out to me and say they want reading. I do 3-month readings, past life readings, and I read you in the garden. And when I read you in the garden and you're able to communicate with me, it's a much different reading, because I can follow up on the questions I would have about here. Yeah, monkeypox. Yeah, monkeypox. Can you believe that? I thought it was sort of like maybe a disease somebody made up, but no. What is that? It looks like a chicken pox or a smallpox, but on steroids. The pox marks get like this big on your skin. I can't hear this big, like that big on your skin. Like about this size. They burst out all over your body about that size. And the guy who has it's a U.S. citizen, but he'd been to Nigeria. Anyway, what we need to do is not dwell on trying to fix stupid. The best we can do is fix ourselves, and by being open and allowing that others can change, open the world up for them. One last thing, I'm going to pull a flower card. Like I said, I'm going to do a show tomorrow with Dorothy Morgan, but I will also do another show at 1 in the afternoon, Central Daylight Time, on the garden. I want to learn how to read, and I'm going to be doing a space a day of my meditation and dreams into what that part of the garden's like. If you want to take notes, we went into Restate, and I thought Restate would be a desert because the information wasn't there, and what that part of the garden was overgrown and needed to be weeded. So, okay, here we go. Get you back here. Tiger lily. And the tiger lily in the language of flowers, did you guys know that all the flowers have a different meaning? And in the Victorian times, when you get a bouquet, every flower had a different meaning and it was sending you a message. It's tiger lily, security. Choose the safe harbor for now. Well, that's what I'm doing till I know I have not been exposed to Delta. I'm going nowhere. Y'all choose your own safe harbor. And the safest harbor you can pick is to be as kind and gentle as yourself. And to give yourself the grace and forgiveness of what you want to do. And with that, I think we all need to be very careful about COVID right now. And we're all going to be safe, and fortunately we all get along. So the idea of being locked up in a house with my kids is not terrible. We have great food delivery services here, so everything's going to be fine. I want to thank the 41 of you that showed up and shared your time with us. And I will see you tomorrow, either in the afternoon or come and see what Dorothy has to say about the big shifting planets. Talk to you later.